I agree. I think it's going to take a while, but I'm pretty confident that that's going to happen because uh, human beings, scientists in particular, are just as dogmatic as anybody else on the planet. But science as a institution, a social institution, is not dogmatic. It may be slow to change its views, but it's not dogmatic because eventually uh, data will overwhelm our biases, and the new theories will overwhelm our biases. So, for example, in 1905, it was over for Newton as being the fundamental theory of physics. It was over. But 17 years later, when Einstein won the Nobel Prize in physics, the Nobel Committee was very, very clear that it was not for his theory of spacetime. It wasn't for his theory that overthrew Newton. It was for something else. It was um, something in quantum theory, the photoelectric effect. So what happened was it took a long time for even the Nobel Prize Committee to respect and believe Einstein's theory, even though it had already predicted, the change of the positions of stars in a solar eclipse and so forth. They were not convinced. Well, everybody's convinced now, but you can see that even if it's a genius like Einstein who has made what we now know to be a, one of the biggest contributions of all time, it takes the science a little while to, a few decades to catch up, but eventually it does. So I'm quite confident that, like this year's Nobel Prize for the experimental verification that local realism is false. That's just another clean nail in the coffin of space-time and physicalism. And so I'm convinced, by the way, that as an idealist framework starts to solve the hard problem of matter that Rupert was just talking about, where we start with a mathematical model, for example, of consciousness, and then show how precisely um, quantum field theory arises as a projection of the dynamics of consciousness. Then I think things will turn around because when you can start building new technology based on the new science that doesn't assume that space and time and physical objects are fundamental, then all of a sudden you're a luddite if you if you still believe in space and time. You've been left behind, and so I think that's what's going to happen is that there will be a new theory of, and it's already happening. There are physicists, Nima Arkani Hamed and others, who are finding new structures beyond space time. So the race is already on. Space time is not just that we're saying the space time is doomed. There are new structures beyond space-time that are being found, and eventually we're going to get new technology that goes around space-time. And when we have technology that goes around space-time and doesn't require the existence of matter, then all of a sudden um, you're not going to be the smart one in the room if you think that space-time is fundamental. You'll be the one that was left behind.